So I am with Ian and Stevie Folkes, longtime Rockstar members. You guys have been around, you were just telling me, since 2009. So long before my time here at Rockstar, about 10 years before I even arrived on the scene.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. So 16 years, believe it or not.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gone fast.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is wild.
Yeah. And VIP members since 2010, which is, I think, the first year Tom and Nick launched that, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we would have been at the beginning. Yeah.
So where were you guys at in life when you found Rockstar? Like, why did you join this thing? What was the appeal to you guys?
Okay, so that would be me. We had bought some properties and we were stuck. And I knew we needed to buy more. And they put an ad in the Mississauga paper. So I asked for them to send the package, whatever it was, and it came, and I'm reading it, and Ian read it and he said, "Oh my God, this is full of spelling mistakes and bad grammar."
There's all this different colored sheets of information.
Yeah, Tom and Nick's early stuff wasn't great on the spelling. I think they were just like,
get it out.
Get it out the door. Yeah. If it's like legible, then we're good.
Yeah, and Ian is quite precise with language.
Mm-hmm.
Me, on the other hand, I can't even see the mistakes. So I saw the ideas and what they were saying made sense. So I said, I don't really care. I think we should do this. And the one thing Ian's always done is back me up when I'm coming up with crazy things to say or do. Mm-hmm. And so we did. We came out and we went to, we did a tour. No, we didn't do the tour. We had 4 kids with hockey and skating, you name it, they were in it. And so we came, we did the introduction thing, and JP was going to take us.
JP Hunt.
JP Hunt, okay.
Yeah.
Was going to take us out. And we said, no, we're sorry, we can't do that. And he was like, okay. And we said, but take us to see some properties. So he took us out, and the very first property we went to see, we said, okay, let's buy this. And it was lovely. But it was listed for $254. We offered them $250, and we never heard back from them. The deal just died on the table, and we found out afterwards they were getting a divorce and they were in such a bitter battle they weren't communicating, so we never got that house. So he took us out and we bought another one, which we still own.
Wow. So when you say you guys felt stuck, like, how did you feel stuck?
So we had actually purchased 2 properties in 1999, a townhouse and a duplex in 2000 that we bought with a friend for his mother-in-law. And after those properties, we didn't have any money left. We didn't know how we could go about doing any more. And then it just sort of forgot about it. And we were dealing with these 2 properties. And I guess at some point, you know, as you're going along in life, you kind of go, hey, we don't have a pension to look forward to in the future other than the government one. And
which is nothing.
And we really had to start thinking about how we were going to survive down the road. And what we were doing wasn't going to be enough. So we knew we had to do more.
What were you doing at the time?
We were both working. We had 4 children. And children are very expensive. And there's never any money left over because you got to deal with braces. We didn't have dental coverage. Minivan. That breaks down, and education. We could see a future education needed to pay for, and we never had any extra money to put into things. So we just sort of said, it's got to change. How do we change it? And the only thing that we'd had good success with was the 2 properties we had. So when we saw Nick and Tom's thing, we thought, well, at least let's go and explore it, and we'll go from there.
Wow.
And that was for the townhouse that we bought. We ended up refinancing it 2 or 3 times. And we refinanced it shortly after we joined Rockstar so that we'd have some funds to buy other properties. So it was a learning experience, and it's something we never would have done if we hadn't been part of this group.
Well, I was going to say, how did you have money to start investing with if you were so tight? But I guess you already had those 2 assets in place at least.
So the townhouse was $99,000. So it was 25,000 down, and I think we either had a line we might have refied our mortgage.
We refied our mortgage at that time.
We only needed 25 grand, right, for the first one. And I think we refied enough to have enough for half of what we needed for the second one. So, which was only 124,000 in Hamilton. So Hamilton duplex, East End was 124, and it stayed 124 for probably 15 years.
Didn't move.
And
really?
Now it's probably worth 7.5 or 8.
Because when did you buy that?
2000.
Really?
Yeah, but because we weren't involved with Rockstar, I knew that Hamilton was a good place to buy. I just didn't know the area very well. So we bought in the downtown, not on the mountain. The mountain shot up, and where we were did not. But now it's gone up a lot, and you can tell because the neighborhoods come up. There are a lot of homeowners there now, and every time you go there, there's always work being done in the neighborhood, and it looks nicer.
What was it about the downtown that didn't allow the house to appreciate as much? Was it just kind of rough down there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of rough. It was over by Ottawa and Barton sort of area.
Yeah.
And the mother-in-law that was moving in wanted to stay in that area because she was in an apartment right near there, and she didn't want to move far away. So we were kind of stuck with the area that we were at. But the price was right, too, because it was less desired area. The price was pretty good, right? 124. So.
Yeah. So it allowed you guys to get into the market. So you're working your 2 jobs. You've got 4 kids. I had no idea you had 4.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot to juggle. And then on the side, you start learning about this real estate thing.
Yeah.
And Rockstar, I guess, was the first legitimate organization or coaching training program that you guys had found.
Yep.
Cool. So then you joined, and then I guess you kept resonating with it because you kept going.
Well, what we learned is when you're with people that are doing things, you tend to do more. And I think also more opportunities came up. Like we bought some student rentals, and we had committed to buying one. That was with JPG, and our financing fell through like days before we were supposed to close. They said we had too many properties, and JP helped us find a partner that we were able to buy it. So we bought that with that partner, and it helped move us forward.
This is another Rockstar member?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was Neil.
And the after we'd done the 2 rent-to-owns, then the next year we bought our first student rental, and Alex was going to go to, our oldest daughter was going to go to Western. She was in Western and needed somewhere to live after the first year, and we were thinking about rentals, and Stevie looked at me and said, "Why wouldn't we just buy a place? We do that."
That's something we do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So then we started getting JPG out there to find properties, and Alex went out with him and looked at them. And
it was a big learning curve for our daughter because she went through one property, and the people said, "Well, we're not leaving." And Alex was kind of like, "Oh," and JP said, "They don't own it. They have no rights. If you are moving in as the owner's relative, you get first priority." So that was a good learning curve for her. And also when she moved into the house, it was supposed to be part of her responsibility to oversee her friends. I think her friends oversaw her. But again, good learning curve.
Okay. Did she just go crazy when she got there?
No, she's just, I am a terrible mother and do everything. So she had to learn to do everything.
Got it. Well, what a great experience for her.
Yeah.
And I've heard that from several investors now where they bought a student rental for their kid, and then their kid kind of managed it. And then that was the kid's first kind of insight into understanding how real estate investing works, because they just added up all the income coming in every month that they had to collect from their friends. And then they had an idea of what the expenses were from talking to their parents, and they did the math, and they're like, "Oh, this is like a good money-making venture." And it's not that much work in the whole grand scheme of things.
yeah, I think it was a great way for her to learn extra responsibility and things like that beyond schooling. So we're glad we did it. And after she was done and she left, then we had property management take over for a few years.
And you kept the property?
We sold it. Yeah, well, we had 4 at one point, and that was the last one that we kept, I believe.
Student rentals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all in London, all in that same area.
So the first, you actually put together this awesome list of all the properties that you guys have purchased, and there's a lot of them. And a few of them were before Rockstar, and then I guess 2009, you can see you started buying stuff. So it looks like the first 2 you bought were rent-to-owns. So that strategy you guys were attracted to at the time?
It made sense.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't, but at the time it was really, really good. The first property we bought, we had someone move in and they gave us $10,000 up front, which was lucky because at some point they stopped paying the rent, and which was also, at the time it was hard, but it was good because when they left, we then flipped it to a rental, so we never lost the property.
Yeah.
And the second one, which we did to a rent to own, the person went out and picked their own house, and we bought it and everything. If she hadn't paid, that house would have been worth $1 million. But she did, and we still made money. Mm-hmm. And we've been really good about not what ifs, because it was the right learning. We learned a lot at the time. I mean, who knew real estate prices were going to go through
as bananas as they did? Yeah. Yeah. It was a much more stable market back then, right? Like from 2000 up to like what, mid 2010s?
Yeah.
It was kind of predictable, slow. I know 2008 was a big question mark for Canadian real estate. What did you guys notice actually going through that time? Because I was so young, I wasn't paying attention.
So we had a cottage in Huntsville that we bought in 2004, and when the whole thing started coming in 2008, we kind of looked at each other and went, "We need to get rid of this property." And at that time, we didn't know. We weren't Rockstar members. We really didn't know. We got kind of caught up in the hype of what was happening, and we were worried about the property dropping off in value. I mean, would it have really mattered? Maybe not. We probably didn't even need to sell it, but we panicked a bit, and we sold that.
Was that more of an investment or more of a lifestyle property, though?
It ended up being a bit of both. The problem with Huntsville is it's 3 hours away, and in the winter, it can be brutal, or it was back then, brutal to get to. And we did rent it during the summers. We rented it because the people who worked at Deerhurst could never find anywhere to live because there's limited, even now, Huntsville is still quite a good market. It's, but we chose to pull our money out. Probably not a good idea.
It was a property that was right by the
ski hill.
The ski hill, Hidden Valley.
Yeah.
Called. So it had some draw there where some families would rent it, and then they'd go. You could literally walk down the road and go skiing from the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Go down and then get your lift ticket. So.
And it had a deeded access to a lake, so it was a nice, very little property. It was a very wide lot. And if we'd held on to it, they kept saying they're going to bring sewers in, and we could have split the property, but it seemed like we were going to be waiting that forever. I still don't think they've got that in yet.
Mm-hmm. So were you guys pretty much all in at real estate through this whole journey from back then up till now? Like, were you investing in other things? Were you interested in other things? Or once you'd found real estate, it kind of just kept working for you and you stuck with that?
So I had been, with a couple of different companies I was with. I had RSPs that developed, but I think when we started doing this, I think we stopped contributing to RSPs completely and focused all the money towards real estate. So I would definitely say that it was the prime focus. Mm-hmm. So I still have the RSPs, but I don't add to them or anything at this point.
Yeah. Now we do have Bitcoin, or we're trying really hard to get more of that.
Yeah, and Graybrook.
Music to my ears right there.
We have Graybrook as well, which is in the middle of, we got like 4 properties with them.
Yeah.
That when it's all said and done, we should probably quadruple our money or something.
Wow.
So, but that's, not till the mid 2030 something.
Yeah, Graybrook's been great for a lot of Rockstar members for that RRSP money.
Yeah.
'Cause once you understand real estate, it's like you're looking at the RSPs, you're like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
Right? And it's such a great option to be able to invest in their projects like that and kind of have access to those projects in general.
Well, the Huntsville property, when we sold it, we invested the money into like a Smith maneuver, and it ended up with a good chunk of money that we were able to invest into Graybrook. And again, these are opportunities that have come along through being here.
Yeah.
Or made us brave enough to take those opportunities when they came along. I mean, honestly, none of my friends own Bitcoin. None of them understand it. We're still learning all the time. And do I wish we'd bought more? Yeah. It is what it is. We'll just keep.
Oh, that's every human on the planet.
100%. I wish we bought more and sooner.
Yeah.
I feel stupid.
That's everybody. Oh, that's everybody. That is everybody. That's actually a big deterrent for a lot of people is you got to get over like your ego, missing it for the first time or not looking into it the first time you heard about it or just dismissing it because we all did it. Like,
oh yeah, we heard about it here at Rockstar, an event. And honestly, it was so over my head. I left the room and went to the bathroom so I didn't have to
Didn't even hear the whole
anymore.
presentation.
Head was spinning. I don't need this crap.
Yeah, it was just, I'm like a lot of people. I couldn't see it, couldn't touch it, didn't make sense to me. Real estate's always made sense.
Yeah.
Because I can drive past it and go, yeah, I own that. And the same with Graybrook. We're going to build there. So it was a hard concept to understand, but the more I've read, the more I listen to, the more I think, oh, yeah, this makes really good sense. But what is it they say? You get it when the time is right.
Yeah, everybody buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, good for you guys. I mean, you've put yourself in a position where, like you said, these opportunities are happening around you and you're getting courage from the people taking advantage of these opportunities around you. And you don't feel like so crazy by jumping in and taking a risk to do the same thing because you see other people doing it and it kind of gives you some courage and conviction, right?
Yeah. Our risk level is probably different than a fair number of Rockstar people, perhaps, because we're not lifting houses and turning them 90 degrees. And we're not adding new units on, or at least not at this point. We have our 7 properties now, including our own house and our cottage, and that we manage and do things to make them more valuable and nicer. But we're not thinking about major stuff that basically I'd have to not be working in order to probably manage those things.
Sure.
So I admire people like Vanessa, who's done all sorts of this type of stuff, but it's too much work for me, I think.
Yeah.
We've got comfortable. I mean, when we first bought our first house, my goal back then was if we could just have $1 million, we'll be okay. And
for retirement,
yeah,
you meant?
and now it's not, which is ridiculous in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
You look around and think, wow, I don't know if I can make it through my retirement on $1 million. So we keep setting the bar a little higher and we keep hitting it. We don't set it too high, but we've hit it and our numbers support that. And I am a whim person. So like we built Costa Rica totally on a whim. We did not zero research, but pretty much zero research.
We did go and visit before we signed on the dotted line, right?
Was the property built already?
No. So it was a big field of dirt, basically. They had started. So we were there in March at the home show in 2015.
Okay.
And we just gotten back from Cuba the day before.
And we said we wanted somewhere warm.
And we had heat on our minds, and they had a booth there, and we got, not sucked into the whole thing, but drawn into it. And
had you been to Costa Rica before?
No.
Never.
Oh, wow.
Never. So we ended up initially signing up And then we were given the opportunity to go down there in the May to see it, to make sure that it was legit. And so we flew down there, flew into the to the community, and we were able to see our lot, where it was. The hole was there for the pool already.
You're like done.
The
sold.
electricity and the plumbing, like where the infrastructure was all done. So once we saw that and knew that it was legit, that's when we committed to it.
My daughter and her husband thought we had been ripped off, that we were just going to be left with a dirt hole in the ground.
Yeah.
But we were like, no, it's all going to work out fine. And it did.
Hey everyone, I wanted to quickly share my personal journey with the Rockstar Inner Circle. I joined Rockstar when I was 23 years old because I wanted to learn how to invest in real estate, and I was looking for the right people to guide me. What I didn't expect was how much more the Inner Circle would give me. It's not just about investing, it's about being a part of a community that is genuinely invested in each other's success. I've learned so much here, from real estate strategies to understanding the economy, personal finance, and how the whole money system works. I've gained the knowledge to build my own business, create my own assets, and leverage the biggest trends in the world. But more than that, it's the growth mindset and personal development that have transformed how I approach life and investing. Having a community of like-minded people to share wisdom, experiences, and lessons with has been invaluable. From finding tenants and growing a real estate portfolio to designing the life you want, it's been a game changer. Being part of the Inner Circle has completely changed my perspective on money and life. The insights I've gained have helped me make smarter decisions, and I'm now way more confident in my financial future. If you're ready to level up your investing, mindset, and your life, I can't recommend the Rockstar Inner Circle enough. It's not just a membership, it's an opportunity to design the life you want. Thanks for letting me share this with you, and I hope to see you in the Inner Circle soon. If you're curious to learn more, feel free to check out rockstarinnercircle.com/get-started for free resources and see if it's the right fit for you. Now back to the show.
Yeah.
Was there any way to review the builder or see other projects or like an online presence? Just see the utilities come in and you're like, okay,
no,
they're building something.
Yeah, there was nothing like that. And this was the first new build in that community for probably 20 years, since the late 80s maybe, when they were building properties.
Which area of Costa Rica is it?
So this is down in the Nicoya Peninsula, right at the south end.
Oh, beautiful.
And the town right near us is called Tambor.
Okay.
And the community we're in is called Las Delfinas. And it's a gated community. It's on the beach.
Has a golf course.
We can walk to the beach in 10 minutes.
Is Nicoya where Puerto Jimenez is? Do I have that wrong?
Yeah.
Corcovado National Park, is that?
Oh, there is a national park. There is up that side, yeah.
So
The one close to us is...
there's a bunch of them. I'm not sure if that one or not, but Guanacaste is at the top of the peninsula, and that's where all of those all-inclusives are.
Oh, okay.
They're near the Liberia airport.
And it's just underneath there.
And it's
so it's close to Liberia.
Straight down 3 hours from Liberia.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, and there's Montezuma, Santa Teresa.
Tamarindo's close-ish.
Tamarindo is...
Well, a few hours.
On the way. It's on the way, yeah. It's a couple hours away from us, yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
But...
we were terrified. Well, I was terrified, but we were excited.
Yeah.
And we went down there and we started, luckily, we met someone, Sebastian, who took us on as property manager, because you can't manage that from Canada. And he said, this was the cost if he filled it, and this is the cost if you fill it. And he filled it twice. And we filled it all the rest of the time. Now, we didn't know what we were doing, but when we were down there, we put every picture we took up on Facebook. We talked about it nonstop on Facebook. We came back and put it on Airbnb and VRBO.
Yeah.
And Ian can probably tell you, but Airbnb, we found they're the shorter rentals. VRBO are the people that rent for a month or more.
Usually from Canada.
Okay.
Whereas Airbnb tend to be locals, people that live in Costa Rica.
Oh, really?
Will rent either for a weekend or a week. It's just the way it is. They just gravitate towards the interface that they like best. So Airbnb seems to be the one. So
when did you buy it? And how much was it?
So 2015, we bought for $169 US. 2-story, 2.5 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 3-bedroom, with a pool. And we actually took possession August of 2016. So
Okay,
it took
wow.
over a year for them to make it. It's not Jamaican time, but it's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's not an island, but it's like kind of island time, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult to get stuff in because they have to bring it over from San Jose. So that always has to come on the ferry. So Liberia is growing, but it was relatively small in comparison to San Jose.
Okay. Well, in hindsight, I'm sure that it's actually done quite well as an investment and not just a vacation property.
It did very well.
Costa Rica's really taken off.
It has.
Yeah.
But it did extremely well during COVID because it had its own pool. And they didn't have to go in an elevator. They didn't have to share a property. And everybody just wanted to get away from the cities. So where we are, I guess, is the Muskoka of Costa Rica. People in Costa Rica want to go there.
Oh, okay.
So when they were, during COVID, everybody was coming because that was the first question. Does it have its own pool? And we were like, yep.
Yeah, so we had bookings right through until May that year. And of course, when March hit, everything got canceled. There was people there when they closed everything down at our villa, and I let them stay for a bunch of extra days for free until they were able to get a flight back to the States. So it sat empty until probably June or July, and then all of a sudden July, bam, it just filled up, usually a week at a time. And the way it worked in Costa Rica was that if you wanted to travel, your license plate ended with either an even or odd number, and the day you could travel was either an even or odd day. If they wanted to travel off that, we had to give them a letter to prove that they had a rental that they were going to, or accommodation. And if the police stopped them, then they had proof.
Wow.
So, but it was pretty much full up for the whole rest of the year, and it was probably the best year we have had. It was probably, 50-60% occupied. Okay. Which is pretty good. We don't generally...
What's like an average year?
I would say this year is not so good, but it's probably between 30 and 40. Average is probably has been around mid 40s.
How often do you guys use it?
Well, we're going down in March for 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, so a nice chunk of time.
Yeah. Well, we just reached the point where we're starting to do that.
Are you both still working?
I do work, but not very much.
Got it.
Ian works, but he can work remotely.
We won't send this to your employer.
Well, I work for the city, so I can pick my hours, so it's easy.
Got it. So you have some flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm full time, and at some point I'll be looking to maybe reduce by a day or something. Maybe next year or the year after. I'm not really sure yet.
Go full time in that pool.
Yeah. Well, this is...
Yeah.
Ian works, when he works really, really hard. He's goes in the office and we don't see him and I have to call him out at 6 o'clock for dinner. But when we're in Costa Rica, he works more healthily, I would say, because there's a 2-hour difference. He can be done at 4. So we actually have a much better life down there. And because we've now got really good Wi-Fi there. Anybody can, if you can work remotely, you can work from the house. And you take your break and you swim around in the pool.
Was that your idea going into it, that you would be able to work remotely from there? Or is more of a...
Working remotely really wasn't going on much down then at that time. So in 2016, I wasn't working remotely. It wasn't really till just before COVID that the company I worked for had put in VPNs and everything that was required for it. And it was just a fluke that it happened that we were ready for it and we could work remotely. But the Wi-Fi I had was like 3 at that time. It was pretty crappy, so it wasn't really conducive to remote working with, Teams calls and phone call at the same time, or whatever.
So it just kind of worked out well for you in the end.
Yeah, and at that time we were only going down for a couple of weeks. So it wasn't a 6-week thing. It was maybe 2 weeks, 10 days. And then the rest of the year it was rented out.
So why buy in the first place instead of just going down and renting or exploring different places just on a whim.
It was that whim thing.
It was that one thing. But I don't know about other Rockstar members, but everywhere I go, I think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to own here?
Yeah, totally.
It's a real estate mindset, and it's also a bit of a Canadian thing. Canadians do like to own their vacation holiday homes. Whether they rent them out or not doesn't seem to matter. Canadians like to own, and that's what we found in where we are in Costa Rica. Most of the Canadians own a house there. The apartments that are built in the area are owned by Americans. Don't know why.
Tends to be, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting. We really do place a lot of value on home ownership in Canada.
we do.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is that we were in the middle of sort of selling student rentals at the same time. So we were able to use the funds from that to pay for this completely.
Okay.
So there's no
more.
We were actually promised a mortgage initially at 8%. But then we found out that it's only for, they lied, basically.
Yeah, you can get a mortgage. It can take you up to a year to 2 years to get a mortgage because they do the paperwork. It has to be reviewed by a whatever body, but it usually expires because they don't look at it within 30 days. And so after that, you have to redo it. So it can take forever. So
In the end, it ended up timing well with the other properties that we were able to just pay it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then any Airbnb is just profit from there too.
well, it covers all our expenses. So it covers the electricity, it covers the property taxes, everything is covered. So it doesn't cost us anything. And if there's money left over, that's a bonus.
How does it compare to owning a home here in terms of insurance, taxes, maintenance costs? Like, does being by the ocean, salt water, is that extra maintenance? Like,
Yes.
what's it like?
Well, this year we've had a lot of maintenance, but
2 years ago, we had the whole inside and out had it repainted. We had the patio enlarged. I think we spent about 16 grand a couple of years ago to make it better. But AC units, there's split units in each bedroom and on the ground floor, and we've already replaced the ground floor one once, just recently, because you got to have AC, right?
yeah.
So what is it? Is it the humidity? Is it the...
It's, proximity to the ocean is definitely a detriment to some things. I think that's what killed that AC unit, was the condenser unit outside just rusted away. There was also birds on it, and they got stuff all over it, and it didn't help. So
That didn't help.
all that beautiful wildlife in Costa Rica might
Yeah.
not be great for the maintenance, eh?
yeah. So and we've had to have the pool had all these towels around the top. We had to get all that replaced and repainted, and which is just general wear and tear, I suppose. So, and the roof has to be, it's a flat roof. Well, it's an angled roof.
It has a lot of rain. In the rainy season, it rains really heavily
Constantly,
as well.
Yeah, so they have to strip it and reseal it every few years, especially down where it is,
Is
because
that a steel roof?
it's a steel roof. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they have those huge rainstorms, it's really loud,
Yeah.
even through the ceiling, through the drywall ceiling, and that
Yeah.
you can still.
Very relaxing though.
Yeah, well, we're not there very often when it rains.
In the rainy season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to go in the rainy season. I'd like to try it because apparently in October and January, where we are, they have whales come in the bay. So it would be
beautiful.
nice to see the whales.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just there in November for my first time. So it was like shoulder season.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we'd get the afternoon rains. And I can, like, the potholes in the roads are crazy. Like,
Yes.
the rain just takes such a toll
Yes.
on the infrastructure in that country.
So it used to be that the road down from Liberia to our place, there was a 45-minute stretch that was unpaved, and it was all rock and stuff, and you're winding through the mountains and that. And then apparently the president was going to be making a visit down there. They paved everything within a
Just
few
for the
months.
president. Isn't it funny how they do that when a world leader comes? It's like all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like, the cities just get their act together and
Every pothole, they cleaned all that up. And even the roads going to Montezuma and Santa Teresa, I think, are better now than they used to be. So, yeah, notoriously bad the roads have been, but down by us, they're pretty good now.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
We've had some adventures. One time somebody said, oh, you can get to Liberia if you go this way. What they didn't tell us was it was sort of part of the rainy season. So all those dry beds were now rivers. So we actually drove through in a rental car, which it says when you buy it, don't drive through rivers. So we did.
We drove through 9
And we drove through 9
rivers, and that was in August.
Yes.
Wow.
And our friends got out and walked through the water. I said, I'm not getting out of the car. I wouldn't get out of the car. If I'm going to be washed away, I'm going to go with Ian.
We wanted to make sure it wasn't too deep, so they walked across, and we just drove through and went out the
other side.
The other
It was
side.
okay, that was the deepest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the airport, somebody said, weren't you worried about crocodiles? And I thought, oh, God, that never crossed my mind.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's true wilderness there.
It is.
And the drives, those mountain passages are crazy. It's like hairpin turn after hairpin turn and giant
very
potholes. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys picked a good country to buy a house in for sure.
Yeah.
The
It's
way
got-
the real estate market's gone, but then just like, it's just a safe country.
It's safe. The medical care is good. So I've heard we've never had to use it, touch wood. So hopefully we won't. And the property has appreciated. It's probably doubled in price.
And is it it's priced in US dollars, right?
Yeah, I was 169 US, yeah.
169 US.
And now it's worth about 3. And,
Okay.
and we've done a lot, like some people have put
Beautiful gardens.
big,
stuff
the
like
backyard, they put in like a shower and a kitchen and all that stuff. We haven't done, the only thing we've done is expand the patio out. So those ones are probably maybe 3.5, 330.
Do they
So-
price any of their properties in colonas, or it's all US?
It's all US dollars.
All
all
USD.
US.
And then when you're like expanding the patio, renovating, you're paying in US dollars as well.
Yes, it was, yeah.
Got it. And then
So
you-
our
you do
property
get-
our property manager dealt with US dollars.
Okay.
So I would send him money down, and then he would pay the contractor, however he pays them.
Yeah. And then how do you send the US dollars down? You have to wire it?
So I used to. So up until earlier last year or late last year, I was using OFX, and which is a money exchange site.
Okay.
And so it would get sent to his bank account in Costa Rica. So it only cost $15. OFX charged $15, but then when it got to the other end, there was a couple of different bank charges, and that were about $25. So to send $2,000 was about $75.
Okay. Not too bad.
Yeah, but now we have a different property manager, and we just do an Interact transfer, bank to bank, and she uses Wise. I don't know much about it, but she's able to access the money, and then she converts it to US, and then lets me know what that is, and it goes onto into my Quicken
spreadsheet. It's got an amazing
spreadsheet thing. So,
Oh, cool.
so now there's no fees at all,
Awesome.
and then she takes care of getting all the repairs done and things like that.
So you guys have owned a ton of properties over the years: Costa Rica, cottages, student rentals, rent to own, straight rentals, your own home. What's it been like managing it all?
Oh, that's easy. Ian does it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been a breeze, eh?
Well, Ian has an amazing spreadsheet. And when I say it's amazing, it's like stuff we give to the lawyer, the banks and everything. We make everybody happy because they can see exactly what property, how much it's cash flowing, what we owe, how long we've owned it, all of this stuff. And to be honest, our biggest problem is our tenants won't ever leave. So we can't really increase the rents. And significantly.
Now these are, I know you mentioned you sold some student rentals. Like what kind of does your portfolio consist of right now? Mainly straight rentals, I guess, long-term rentals.
Yeah.
All of them, yeah, are long-term rentals, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Other than Costa Rica.
And generally the tenants have been there a while and are leveraging those cheaper rents.
We do put them up every year, so that has helped. We didn't for a while, but we learnt from that because, they were going to buy it, and so we didn't put it up for a little bit, and then we realised they were never going to buy it, and if we don't stay on top of it, we would be really far behind.
So that townhouse that we bought, in 1999, when we finally sold it a couple of years ago, we were losing $500 a month on it. And that was from a combination of not being able to put the rents up enough, the HOA fees going up significantly over the years, and refinancing it a couple times.
Oh, well.
Can't
complain too much.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's right.
And also pulling out hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. But we
Tax-free.
Tax-free.
Yeah. So that's one of the things we learned is leveraging different things. And when all the rates went up, Ian was able to see which property, like all our properties, even when all the rates went up, pretty much stayed cash flowing. They went really close to the mark with some of them. Some of them it was like
pretty slim, yeah.
Very slim. But we were better off than a lot of people because we had always bought cash flowing properties.
Mm-hmm. And kept a healthy margin even though you were refinancing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that we weren't killing ourselves buying a massive property other than one. We have a triplex that was a lot of money, but all the other ones were a lot lower, so the mortgages weren't crazy, and we were able to absorb the increase in the payments.
Yeah. Did you guys see that increase coming? Like to the degree?
Not to the degree.
Yeah.
I mean, who did?
Yeah.
I mean,
the triplex, we had a mortgage on that place. It was, when we bought it, it was supposed to be $2,000 a month, and it ended up $3,900 a month.
Yeah.
By the time they put them all in. So
I definitely felt a bit naive after. I'm like, oh well, didn't think that could happen. It was a big wake up call.
They'll never do that.
Yeah, not that aggressively at least.
Yeah, but when we bought our very, very first home when we got married, we were jumping up and down for joy because our mortgage was 11 3/4, and our friends had paid 12 3/4. So
somewhere higher in the 15s and
in the grand scheme of things, rates did not go that high.
Yeah.
Like historically speaking,
and we'd borrowed money from Ian's uncle to buy our first house, so we were paying him 10%. So our mortgage rate really was 21%.
Yeah.
So by the greater scheme of things, it was scary at the time, and everybody was feeling the stress, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Things always get better, and Ian, I drive Ian crazy with this because I always say the money always comes, and the money always comes. Which, if you believe it will, it always does. But, so
I try not to think of the budget will balance itself when I hear that.
Yeah. But have I been wrong?
It's always worked out. Yeah.
So we just refinanced a property we bought during COVID, and that is the gift that keeps us on giving. It's a little tiny duplex, and we bought it for $150. And I swear to you, when we went in, the real estate agent says, "Oh, she's desperate to sell, so she'll just make an offer." I was like, I don't think that's very good for the person who's selling.
Yeah. She was the listing agent?
He was the listing agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the St. Charles property.
The St. Charles, yeah. Where is St. Charles?
So it's southeast of Sudbury.
Okay.
By about 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So you go towards
I think I've heard of this.
Towards North Bay, and then you drop down about 20 minutes.
Okay. What led you up there? That was in 2020 you guys bought that.
We bought with a friend who was looking for a place for their son who was supposed to be working up in Sudbury, and he ended up not working up there. But our friends bought with us, so I found this little tiny house.
They wanted to get on the real estate
train,
and they wanted to do it with us.
Oh, cool.
So we just had to find a property that was suitable for... We were also looking at things that were around here in 2020, and...
we'd been looking for our son.
They were pretty expensive, and for them and us to get something for $150,000 with, $20,000 down each or whatever, it was the right number. A little far away. We ended up, after we bought it, we went in for 5 days and did a whole bunch of renos on the whole place.
We changed all the lights, we painted everything, we laid new flooring all through upstairs, and we just stayed there for 5 days, we sort of slept in the living room. And
Yeah, one unit was vacant, so it was easy to do.
Yeah, it was easy to do. And then I had done the math that even with the rent that the other unit was getting, which was very low, it would still carry itself with a vacant unit.
Wow.
So we wouldn't have made
definitely
any
get
money.
some better cash flow in those smaller communities.
Yeah, well, we didn't realize how small the community is. It's like 1,200 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's tiny. But 1,200 people, there's no rental properties up there. So people still live there. And
how do you find tenants?
Weird.
No, we find them by, I think we did we do Facebook? I'm trying to remember what we did.
No, I think we ran an ad in the paper or something. I don't know how
I can't
we
even
found
remember
the
now,
tenants.
but it wasn't.
Somehow got them in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Got a lease signed.
there are freaking weird people there for sure, but
But they're very nice tenants.
they're different.
Oh,
They-
that's why you said weird. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took it like, how do you find the tenants?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I meant like, are you using Facebook, Kijiji? What's working up there?
I think we did Kijiji, actually. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was, but it was 5 years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah, Kijiji is just, even here, it seems to attract some kind of weird people sometimes.
But they always pay. And we've learned there are certain tenants that need a little more loving, if you will. They need a little bit more guidance. They can't change a light bulb. They can't cut the grass, or they're just not they're very capable and they're very good with their rent. But if you reassure them, and luckily our friends made immediate friends with the man across the road, who is delighted to come over and do stuff for them. And they go fishing with him. We do not go fishing, but they do. And so they're very good at creating ties to even a small community, so that we can leverage that to our best interest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then I see this one in Calgary that you bought in 2021.
So we bought that for our daughter. She's been living there probably since before COVID. Yes. And
So is that a rental or like a duplex?
No,
house?
it's just it's a semi-detached house.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So not a rental on that one.
well, the bank considers a rental. Dan considers it to be a rental, or Better Mortgages does. So it goes in as part of the thing. But our daughter lives there, and they consider her officially to be a tenant. There's no lease or anything. It's just our daughter living there. But
Yeah.
The rents were getting so high for her everywhere she went, and she couldn't get ahead.
Yeah.
And we thought, this is just ridiculous,
Yeah.
because we have to keep helping. So we said, let's just find something. We'll make it work. We always make it work.
we were also at the point where, even though it hadn't been that long from the one before, we were kind of ready to buy the next property. And
Felt that whim.
Yes.
Yeah, and we thought, well, why not Calgary?
Yeah.
So that worked out well.
Yeah, that worked out well too.
is that-
It's got some good timing, eh?
Yeah.
That was about,
Give me a text message next time you're ready to buy.
that was about 2.5, and I think it's worth like.
You see a
double that or
trend here,
something
and
now.
it's like, well, like it's kind of undeniable after like enough of these.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the money always comes.
Yeah, the budget will balance itself.
That's
It's
right.
clearly balancing
So
itself.
maybe that'll be the next refi. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because that'll be next year, I think.
So yeah, where are you guys at then? You've got your portfolio. You've been at it for years now. You both said you're kind of nearing retirement or looking to stop working as much. You got the Costa Rica vacation property. Like, how do you guys view your portfolio now, and then transitioning into this next phase of life? And then now you're also able to help give your kids a leg up as well. Like, what are you guys thinking about your portfolio? How do you progress from here? What do you think about it?
Well, at this point, I don't really want to buy anything
I do.
else. However, we are going to be going on the house tour in Florida before the cruise.
That's right. I saw that.
So we'll see what comes of that, maybe. But the good thing about that is that it isn't any more work for me. I just don't want more work than what I already have with our portfolio.
So that could be a better fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it may involve selling something in order to to buy down there.
Or getting another partner, refinancing, because we have our friends that we bought with Sudbury or St. Charles are still interested in doing more, and maybe they would qualify and we'll be in the background.
Yeah, so the first property that they ever got involved with was the St. Charles property 5 years ago. The mortgage was up later this year, but it was variable, so we refied just a couple weeks ago. And so they've already seen the benefit of having real estate and getting this extra 20 grand in their pocket.
Yeah.
We basically took our money that we put into it totally out. It has cash flowed every single month and cash flowed well. And
we pull money out of that every few months as well.
And we've done new windows in it. We've done on new flooring. We've done, we've updated it.
So you've bought the property, updated it, and still pulled out everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So new,
and it's still cash flowing.
New front doors, all new windows, sliding doors. It had no eaves troughs. So we were there one time when it was a big rain, and it's just like this wall of rain coming down on the back porch. And there's no basement in this property. It's just sitting on a big giant concrete pad. So I could just see that it had already eroded the front porch. So you could see the damage that it would be. So for whatever it was, $3 or $4 grand or whatever, we had all these eaves troughs done and done properly, and it's made a world of difference to it. So, we've done the important things that need to get done. New washer dryers for both.
Mm-hmm.
When they need new appliances, we get them. We
have a healthy budget in the bank for that one.
Yeah.
And we need a new roof on Hamilton, so we've got that in the bank. And our partner there is literally silent, so he doesn't care what we do with the property. He just doesn't want to be involved, and that's fine. So we've been lucky with our partners, and
So what are your thoughts for retirement then? Like you said at the beginning, hey, we didn't have a pension. We're going to have to make this pension ourselves. And now 15, 20 years, 25 years even later, you guys have kind of built up a pension. So is it like living off the cash flow? Do you think maybe you'll sell off properties over time?
I don't think we have enough cash flow to live off of it. To the style that we'd like to. Let's rephrase that. And we still have a mortgage on our personal property. So the goal is we have 2 children living at home still, that they will leave, and we will sell our house, downsize, and be mortgage free on our personal property.
Nice.
And
that'll make it easier to live on the cash flow. I have another giant spreadsheet that basically maps out income until 90.
Okay.
At least age 90. And where there's holes in the income, where it's not enough, then we would look at selling a property or refinance. If we could refinance and keep them, it's better. In fact, we asked our kids a little while ago if they had a choice, would they want the cash or would they want the properties?
When we die.
And all of them said properties.
Yeah,
right?
every one of them wanted the properties.
The thing is, some of these, we could live for another 30, 40 years. Maybe some of them, I don't know if I want to own them at the 30, 40 year point, unless we've been getting enough in to maintain them to that level. Seems like a long time. So it's hard to say.
But he's wrong. It goes super fast. It's not a long time.
Yeah, but when you think about the life of a house and the roof and the appliances and everything.
Yeah, but that's the cost of doing business, isn't it?
It does.
Yeah. And so far, the cost has never outweighed the reward. So I definitely think that it's worth doing. It is scary. We were terrified the first house we bought. We didn't know what we were doing. And
yeah, we fortunately, when we bought that townhouse, we managed to link up with a investor-friendly real estate agent. So
they were good.
It was the mindset was there to find a property the right way and have it sort of be a good rental. So that was pretty helpful, actually, for both of those properties, I guess. So, it could have gone badly, but I guess it helps to listen. So whether you have mentors or you have people that know more than you, it's one thing to listen, but you actually kind of got to do what they suggest sometimes. And that's
Take
not always
action.
easy. Nothing bad, but, how many people are part of this that have never actually gone and bit the bullet? So it's not easy, but I'll tell you all out there, if you haven't done it, it's totally worth it. Get her done.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. When our daughter and son-in-law were buying their first house, they weren't going to get a rental property, blah, blah, blah. And she's ended up with a bungalow with a beautiful one-bedroom suite in it that they rent to a friend, and they've never regretted it. And I said, it doesn't matter what you do with the rest of your life, don't ever let this property go.
Yeah.
And we were able to help a friend of mine. This happens to a lot of women, is that their marriages fall apart, and they're left financially in not such a good place. And our friend was in that situation, and the house she bought, it looked like she was going to lose her house. And we said to her, put a basement apartment in, and she did. And now she's got because her house was a bungalow, she put 2 basement apartments in, and she's paid off her mortgage way faster than us. And her house cash flows, it's her retirement fund, and it saved her. So there are times when, even if you're doing it just in your own home, same with another friend. She put a side door in her house and was able to have someone live in her basement, had to share her kitchen, but it's helped her through keeping her house. So I think sometimes you can get bogged down and not see the potential. You have to broaden.
It's easy to kind of want the easy way out. I remember with Memory, that property, we had a tenant that hadn't paid for a few months. We finally were able to get them out. And then we had JP Gulbis come over.
He was ready to sell it. He gets
and take a look
annoyed.
at the property and saying, yeah, I'm ready to sell this sucker. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. And I was just having this moment of panic, I guess. And then something knocked the sense into me, and we ended up keeping it and renoing it instead. And now we have a long-term tenant in there that is good. It's really good. So
It's interesting that your kids see the value in the properties after all these years.
Yeah.
That they'd rather the properties than the cash.
Yeah.
Did they say why? Did they say, hey, the cash isn't going to be worth much? Like,
No,
or it's just, we want the assets.
I think they want the assets. And we had one of our tenants call us, and she was crying down the phone because she couldn't pay her rent. And she's been with us since 2012.
15, I think.
Yeah. And one of the key things she said, which really resonated with me, was, I don't have any assets. And she's right. She doesn't. And what am I going to say to that? But we worked with her. We always try to work with our tenants when they can't pay the rent. We will say, okay, how about when do you get paid? We'll split it so that they're not laying out a big amount in one go. That's probably why we've still got such long-term tenants.
We're too nice to them.
We're too nice to them. I mean, she said, I had to call you because I feel like you're my parents. I'm not like, I've got 4 kids, I don't need more.
Yeah. Let me know when you're re-renting. I swoop in on there.
Yeah. So anyway, we made it work for her, and then she had to sort of make some smaller payments, and then in December she paid everything and caught up to date.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think the biggest complaint I would have with tenants is when they don't communicate with us.
Yeah.
If you tell us you've got a problem, we can work with it. But if you just stop paying and go try and ghost us, what do you think's going to happen?
It leaves you with one option.
Yeah, pretty much. And we're very soft. We don't like doing that.
Yeah.
We are... but like I said, we've had good tenants. The other problem is sometimes is our tenants don't call us and tell us when there's a problem. So when we go in, it's like, oh my God, the roof is falling down here. Why didn't you tell us? Oh, we didn't want to bother you. It becomes a much
Or I
major
haven't
problem.
had hot water for 3 days.
Yes.
My God,
There was
you
one
think
in
they would tell
Hamilton.
you about that?
Yeah. She phoned us up and she said, oh, I haven't had hot water. And I said, well, how long? She goes, oh, 3 days. And I said, you know, there's a law against that. You need to let us know and we'll get it fixed.
Yeah.
But if we don't know, I said, I'm really not a very good mind reader. So let us know.
It's funny how all the maintenance comes up at once when you do the inspection, because you see everything that's wrong with the property that you didn't know about. And you're like, okay, well, let's get a handyman here. Let's get a plumber here. Run down the list.
We're not very good at going in and doing inspections either. We do all the things that they tell us not to. We do all of those.
And
after a while,
we still
you
survive.
Kind of get away with it to a certain degree, right? Like when you start out, you want to do all the best practices and do everything right, and because you're stressed and you're have fear of the unknown and the uncertain, and it's the first time ever doing something. But then after a while, you chill out a bit and you're like, okay, everything's probably going to be fine, and everything generally is fine, and problems come up, they always do, but you can chill a bit.
Well, you learn to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got much better at learning to relax, especially Ian. I mean, I think one of probably one of the worst was the cottage we owned, Whitestone. That was one of those houses that we actually only had it 10 months because we couldn't deal with the stress of it anymore. And I actually screamed. I'm not just yelled, screamed down the phone at the real estate agent we bought it from. So
It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. But you know what? We still made money on it.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. Like, what have the stress levels been like throughout this whole journey, managing all this stuff?
So I would say back at the beginning, I mean, there's a combination. There's a maturity process. And even in my 60s, I think there's still maturity that happens as time goes on. And just getting better at dealing with stuff. So when there's been an issue, I would say within the last 10 years more so, it's you just kind of go, this is the problem, this is what we're going to do, let's get it done. Instead of mulling about it or procrastinating about it or panicking or pretending it's not happening or whatever, like that.
I like that route.
You just kind of push it off. And now I feel so much better. It's the same with work. If stuff's going on there, then it's like, deal with it. Excuse me. Deal with it and just get it done. Mm-hmm. So you don't, if we have an issue, we're not going to get like a whole whack of quotes for something necessarily. We just want to get it done. We want to make sure we're not really overpaying, but at the same time, we're not going to waste a lot of time. So I'd say we got the stress thing has dropped considerably for me. I probably took more things to heart.
He did.
Than I used to. It probably
he developed high blood pressure.
That's probably why I have high blood pressure. That's right. So, and I guess after that, I kind of had to work at reducing that stress level as well. So.
And our kids have got older. I mean, we had 4 kids. One was in rep hockey, one was in dance and choir, and some was in baseball and Girl Guides, and I was a Girl Guide leader, and all of this stuff. That's not the case anymore. Our kids are all grown, and we've learned that whatever they do, fail or succeed, that's up to them. And when our job is not to make them succeed, our job is not actually our job is to support them emotionally and be a sounding board, and sometimes just listen. That's all they need. And so that makes it easier. We can go on holiday. I mean, we did without things in order to get where we are. We did not go on holiday and on our own till our 25th wedding anniversary. I never bought our first flat screen TV. I saved up for and paid for cash, and that was Ian's Christmas present. Whereas I've heard tenants come in and go, oh, where's my truck going to be parked? Or where am I going to put my giant screen TV? I really need a gaming room. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. And they've all got nice hair and nice nails, and I do not. So there are things that you have to have a certain mindset that what will you put off for your future self? What were you willing to give up now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we are not selfishly, but we are definitely able to spend more time doing the things that we love to do, like going to Costa Rica and we've been on a couple cruises over the last year. 2 years ago, we were in Thailand and Bali. So we're, in a way, I guess we're trying to kind of catch up with what we missed.
Well,
other than going
having
to Disney
four
World.
kids is a huge part in that, right? Like that's a lot to juggle.
Well,
I'm sure you would have taken more vacations along the way if you have four kids.
When they were young, we used to go down to Florida because Stevie's parents had a trailer down there in Okeechobee. So we would go down there and then go to Disney World. So, with the kids and that. So it was still a vacation and a way to get away.
And we had Ian's parents to cottage to go to, and when we bought the Hamilton house, we took our kids with us. Our kids learned to change doorknobs, got themselves in cupboards and tar on their shoes from the newly tarred roof and stuff like that. My daughter actually said she has fond memories of doing that stuff. And so it wasn't like we were leaving them at home and they were coming with us while we painted walls and replaced flooring and did that stuff.
I went out to 28 Essex when Alex was living there. And I think there was a couple of screens that got damaged. And she learned how to change a screen out and put a new screening on. Like simple stuff like that, but it's still something that she'd never done before.
And the house in Calgary, our daughter was there for the home inspection, so she learned all how to do that. And they're learning stuff. So that's good.
How do they feel about investing themselves, or like how are they handling the housing market today? Like with higher prices, wages maybe not having kept up to the same degree, like what do they think of the current state of the real estate market? I know they're all in different places, and one has a basement apartment, and
so
like, what do they think about all this?
I don't think they think about it very much. I think they just live their lives.
Yeah.
Our daughter who lives in Calgary is very grateful for the house she's got, and our daughter Alex has terrific in-laws that helped them purchase their first house. We were able to help with the wedding. Our other daughter lives at home. Her boyfriend came for Christmas. He lives there too. And 2 years ago. And our son, he is the one that is chomping at the bit to leave. He wants to go to BC.
Oh, cool.
Because he got stuck at home during COVID. We were looking at buying him a student rental property when COVID hit, and he was no longer going to school. So we no longer had the reason to buy the house. So that changed our trajectory. And then we ended up buying somewhere else.
Yeah, and he goes to Conestoga, so he's done soon, in a few months, like April or May. And then he may stick around, or he may go to BC. We don't really know, but he'd be looking to rent when he left anyway. So it's him and Amy are not really in positions to be buying anything yet. But so I think she's right. I don't think they really think about the whole market thing the way that we do, because we're
invested in it.
We're invested in it. We're
dealing with
in
it.
the middle of everything.
Our kids do see the value of owning their own property. They do get that.
Yeah.
But my son did talk about going out to BC and trying to buy something. But then he said, I think I need to live there for a year to know where I want to buy. And he knows that he can't do it on his own. So he has a friend who also, they can't afford to do it on their own. They make good money. So they will end up partnering up with somebody else.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. So they also think outside the box and are looking for different options.
Yeah. I think you have to.
Yeah. And if
We got to use whatever resources you can. Yeah. And if you can get help from a parent, get help from the parent.
And if we can, we will.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to be the bank of mum and dad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's a limit to that, right?
Well, it's Ian's mum is still alive. She's 94. She pays $7,000 a month to live in her retirement home, and that is the less expensive because she's been there a while. So we're thinking if we end up somewhere, because I love my children enough not to ever live with them, and if we end up somewhere, I don't want to be worried about them having to support us.
It's very responsible and kind of you.
Yeah. So. But that's where we're at.
What a journey, guys.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I can tell that you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And so many lessons and learnings and mistakes come along the way, but like so many good memories too, like your daughter talking about helping fix up the places and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's a journey.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that the first property we bought, that one in 1999, we were both, I think we were both 40 at that time.
No, we were in our 30s.
So it's not like we got into it early.
Wow.
Right? We're in our late 20s or mid 20s and started buying. The way that people are doing it nowadays, you know, they're getting in a lot earlier, like you. It wasn't sort of the thing back then. So I think considering we only started at that age, I think we've done pretty well to sort of catch up.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely caught up.
Yeah. And we had friends who thought we were a bit crazy. We got the nickname, you know, at one point you got Slam Landlord. And
Your friends are calling you slumlords?
Yeah, and that's the thing you never want to be. So that's another reason to kind of be on top of what's happening and just get that stuff done, right?
Yeah. But that's something I would say to my friends too.
Yeah.
Well,
What's up, slumlord?
Said that and one time. I think I get pissed at him for it. So...
But
I love it.
One of the rules of thumb was we would buy houses that we would live in if we had to. Not that we wanted to, but if I'm not prepared to live in it.
You're not comfortable renting it to somebody else. Yeah, I totally get that.
That's sort of just...
I just think you can't go wrong when you do it like that because it's like, you're putting a nice product out there. You're going to attract tenants always. There will always be demand.
When we renovated the house in Hamilton, this is funny. When we were showing it, we had no kitchen, no flooring. Ian was on his hands and knees doing the flooring. The kitchen cupboards were being delivered by IKEA into the bedroom, and
you could actually see into the basement because there was the floor had some holes in it.
Yeah. So I'm walking potential tenants through saying, I want you to imagine, stand right here, and there is your brand new kitchen. And the floor's going to be dark and lovely. And they're all going, wow. And there was nothing there.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Sometimes you've got to be a bit of a salesperson.
Yes.
And we had 5 applications, 2 were good, and we still have the same tenant now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we haven't done the upstairs of that when that tenant leaves, and they won't leave unless they're gone from this planet, because they're in their 80s. Then we'll go in and we'll redo that. We don't mind doing it. We get halfway through a renovation and it was like, oh my God, why did we start this? But we're at the halfway point then, so we carry on and then we stand up and go, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah. Well, we just did a renovation in our Memory Lane house. We put, let's rephrase that. Ian put a new bathtub and surround in, and we did it in 3.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a brand new bathtub. Ripped the old one out, and we use this product called Wet Wall. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but
No.
it's basically a sheet. Instead of having tiles and grout, it's a sheet that you glue onto the moisture-proof drywall,
Okay.
and then you seal it all with the sealant that they provide you with it. And it's about $2,000, and you can choose a couple different sizes for the ends, and then you get a 5-foot sheet for the back, or you can have two pieces that go together.
Oh, interesting.
And
Does it have like a tile pattern on it? So
No,
you can't
you
even
can
tell?
pick. Well, we
You
picked
can.
one.
There's lots of choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Okay, I
picked
think I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, we picked one. It's not like the ones you get in Home Depot, which are super, super thin and break really easily. This is a solid product. And what we like about it is there's no grout. So there's no mold that can come in the bathroom. That easy clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's quicker too. The whole tiling process can take a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
We had 3.5 days, so this was the way to do it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for shouting that out.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we can wrap with like what's kept you around Rockstar so long? It's been 16 years. You're still here, plugging away, coming every VIP event, coming to the big events.
We love the social life.
Yeah.
Can I say we like going to the dinners and the events. Actually, we're going to miss the April event because we're going to be in Costa Rica.
Oh, that's a good excuse.
Yeah.
Are they going to? Is it going to be on? It's only going to be live, right? In person?
We'll have recordings.
Oh yeah.
There'll be recordings for Rockstar members.
So we'll watch it.
Yeah, we missed it last year as well. I think.
Yeah, we were away then.
We got to change our schedule.
Yeah, we do. I'm going to say one of the things that has endeared Rockstar to me is when I lost my dad, I was in England. I couldn't get back. It was really very, very difficult time. You guys sent me a condolence card and everybody had signed it. And I thought the mere fact that you guys had taken the time to even know that I was out of the country and dealing with so much was such a nice thing to do that's it. You've got me. I'm never leaving.
That was 2010 as
That
well.
was
So
2010.
Oh, wow.
We hadn't been with Rockstar very long, and there was a lot going on when you can't be in the country, and so yeah, there are things, little things. I know it sounds silly, but even the little gifts you get as being a VIP. Ian loves his
a cookie, a knife,
his little tube.
Start stacking up.
t-shirts.
The Yeti mug.
Yeah, he loves the Yeti
Use it.
mug.
Oh, that was my idea.
Yeah,
I'd
that's his
take credit.
fave.
I use it almost every day, and I get pissed when somebody else takes it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
use it.
Tom and Nick give me crap for that one because it was maybe not the cheapest gift, but
Oh
they're
my
like,
gosh, it's the best.
they give me crap, but they're
Love
like,
it.
that was the best gift we've ever given out. And I'm
Oh,
like,
I don't know. The knife is nice.
the knife is awesome too.
Yeah.
I use that knife every week.
Yeah. So little things like that. Also, honestly, the information we get. I would never have found Bitcoin if I hadn't have been with Rockstar.
I can say the same thing. I think.
Yeah. Or I certainly wouldn't have attempted to try and understand it. I'm never going to understand it, but at least I have a better handle on it.
I bet you understand it more than 99% of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly I do.
Definitely.
I know
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I talk to people about it and they just look at me like I'm talking foreign language. And Ian got me a mug for Christmas that says, I may look like I'm listening to you, but I'm really thinking about Bitcoin. And that is
Oh my
so
God, I
true.
love
It's a
it.
great mug.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah. So things like that.
Wow.
That it's never boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. Honestly, it's fun to be here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. We try to make it fun. Sometimes if we get a bit too boring, Tom and Nick are like, guys, this is boring. Let's make it fun. Like, let's have fun here, you know?
Well, Ian's done, he went on you guys many years ago did treetop trekking. So Ian did that with you guys. And so we've met lots of other members who we're, love sharing the experiences with and seeing what they're doing and where they're traveling, and all of that makes it fun.
Yeah. It's cool for me to see many members that have been around much longer than I have, and you see them in the VIP events, and you know, you can tell it's like some great friendships that have kind of developed over the years.
Yeah, sometimes I look in the newsletter and think, oh, we're not doing anything. I want to do something.
Yeah, it can definitely inspire you to take action.
And every time we say, we're not going to buy any more real estate, and then we start looking and thinking about it and think, we kind of do want to still do that.
It's definitely like an itch that needs to be scratched every year or two or a few years.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also a bit of a timing thing to it as well, because if I do retire whenever, then pretty much whatever we're going to do needs to be done before that point, right?
Yeah, max out that T4 income, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, no, we'll just change it and we'll find other people that can qualify for the mortgage.
That's true.
And we'll back them. Yeah. There's always ways. You just...
always find the money.
Yeah, the money always comes.
The money always comes. I love it. Cool. Okay, we can end with that, I think. Thank you guys so much for coming in and sharing your story and being so open about it. And thank you for being around at Rockstar for so long. It's been a pleasure to have you guys. And I know Tom and Nick are big fans of you guys. And it's really cool.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't know two guys, you two, with more integrity than Tom and Nick.
That's another
trust
thing
them with everything. And, there's no reason not to join this group or be part of this group and follow it and do the things that are suggested, because your life will be better, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Cool.
You get to live your life on your terms.
Yeah, man.
I love it. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'll let them know you said that as well. That's really kind of you.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.